there, my dear friends. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining me here today. Well, I guess let's just go straight to the point, right? I'm here to present my latest EP called Ritual. It's composed of 4 tracks, each 30 minutes long, so you have 2 hours long music. I have decided to extend the music genre I've created for Var Umn, which is Raw Animism. Quite a few of you have asked me for longer tracks to be used in, not precisely ritual or meditation, in traditional folk magic, your spiritual endeavors. So here it is. You can choose any of the 4 tracks, or you can listen to all of it from start to finish. This work is already available at every streaming music platform, including on Spotify and iTunes, and you can buy the digital copy of this work and other works of mine at Bandcamp. But allow me to explain this work so you might have an idea of what this is, or what this is all about. So, as I've said, it is a composition of 4 tracks. Each track is a power word, what I've called breath voice, a vocal power word. So each track is to awaken a specific power, a specific spirit of breath and air, a vocal expression to manifest the power that is associated to such words as the vibration of their expression through breath and vocalization, and you shall find for yourself what each word brings as you listen and as you repeat in your mind and in your voice, because it is to be manifested into your own reality. I very much want you to find it for yourself and tell me all about it, because, well, I don't think I should really explain this to avoid biases, right? Because I don't want people to try to reach something that has already been stipulated, because I think that brings several limitations, but rather I think it is preferable and it gives a lot more freedom of spiritual expression if people just try it for themselves and find out the effects of bringing this vocalization into a manifested expression of the spirit. I want people to be free to explore this, just the same way many of you have described the things you see and experience when you listen to my other works, my other tracks, especially related to Raw Animism, of course. So this is my gift to you, and you use it however you wish, and let yourself be free to explore it without any boundaries of preconceived ideas. Don't want people to have preconceived notions that set the limitations into what people think they will find and or want to find. Just listen, express yourself, repeat, vocalize it, and let yourself go. This is meant to be a liberation. As I said before, this music genre I've created, Raw Animism, I suppose, of course, it could be said that it is some sort of a mixture of atmospheric dark ambience, neo-folk, ethnic music, dark folk, and such. But my aim is to create something as raw as possible with little editing, and it's just mainly the instruments and objects I own, as well as using my voice for a variety of sounds and anything else in the natural world that can be used to make sounds and create ambience. My aim is to try to create music that is fitting for ritual use, in a sort of balance between the two, right? Because even though it may be used for ritual, I want people to enjoy the musicality of it, and vice versa, of course, because I don't want it to be an entire focus on the music, but also as an expression that is able to provoke in people something beyond the physical, to awaken a desire to express one's self beyond the mundane, to provoke, to excite, to animate dreams and visions, images that come out of the core of your own being. All of my work with this project, but perhaps most especially, of course, with Raw Animism, are meant to tell a story by the use of rhythm, song, music. Even my works with just the guitar are meant to tell a story without the use of any words, meant to express emotions, feelings, dreams, desires. And with Raw Animism and with this new EP, Ritual, I very much want to express a story filled with emotions and mind images to call upon and kindle the spirit that lies within anyone that listens to it, right? And quite often I've noticed that in terms of spirituality, many rhythmic compositions are solely for the purpose of spirituality, and they are seldom works that can be listened to as music in the sense of harmonious form of expression, as well an expression of emotion. And I've also noticed that too often there's the other way around, which is music that somewhat is intended to be spiritual or to seem like that, but doesn't quite fit into the rhythmic expressions of spiritual purposes and efforts. And there's also that idea that a rhythm for spiritual achievements has to be continuous, monotonous, over and over again, the same beat, which is often an idea brought on by New Age religious expressions, which have been influenced by core shamanism, which by itself is a New Age explanation of spirituality. So this is not my aim with Var Umn at all, and especially not with Raw Animism. Over the years, through interviews and my own experiences as well, and the comparison of experiences with others, listening to the experiences of other people, I've noticed that the great majority of people are not able to achieve anything or little with the systematic rhythms because it tends to be monotonous, tedious, tiresome, lifeless even. And many people have a mental state that simply do not allow them to focus on very monotonous rhythm, as their psychological pattern is simply not built for that. Take the example of people with ADHD, just as an example. So with Raw Animism, I want it to be fluid and yet to try to find the balance in the several breaks of rhythm. Not something that can be abrupt, harsh, but a fluidity from change of rhythm to change of rhythm within the same track. I don't want it to be persistent, but rather consistent, avoiding dull moments and tedious beats, and instead producing several changes of rhythm and sequences, beats, patterns, and vibrations, right? So it is meant to be a story, or rather songs that can produce an adventure or a story in people's heads, their own spiritual adventure, right? So it must not be something continuous and monotonous, but an ever-flowing of song to maintain people interested, attentive, and yet let themselves flow with the songs to produce a dreamlike state while people are perfectly conscious. For instance, people in meditation are not supposed to fall asleep, right? So it is a conscious act. The same thing happens in an altered state of consciousness in spiritual efforts, to be conscious of the situation and yet let one's thoughts wander about, minimizing the limitations of the conscious mind, and shift into the conscious of the subconscious itself. Too often, let's say, in neo-shamanism, there's the tendency to make the continuous beat, the continuous rhythm, as I've said. I think that is a mistake, and for most people, it doesn't actually work, but that's just my opinion. It becomes frustrating for most to try to achieve something it is agreed upon and should be achieved under such circumstances. But the truth is that each person has a different psychological makeup. Each people are, well, everyone is built differently, right? So in my view, of course, and experience, it is better to create sound, song, rhythm, music in a way that can be more comprehensive, all-inclusive, as much as possible, of course. Something that allows people to have the freedom to spontaneously have mind images according to their own state of existence, provoked by these creations I'm doing with Raw Animism. Allow people that sort of freedom because it avoids frustration and therefore it avoids the act of quitting when something isn't working as it is supposed to work. There are too many agreed upon ideas, too many biases, too many preconceived ideas and notions, right? Spirituality, or spiritually speaking, people don't need that. People need the freedom to live and express what is spiritually more attractive to them and more in line with their own mental structures and psychological patterns. Because what may work for some doesn't always work for many others. So my work so far, of course, has had this objective to allow people to have spiritual experiences on their own. My works can be the trigger, but not the process. My songs can be the spark, but the intensity, magnitude, and capacity of the fire, it is all according to what people allow themselves to live and experience. And so this latest work on Raw Animism, this new EP, is an extended expression of that, to allow people to have their own experiences, their own mind images, to see what develops in their heads through my compositions, engaging with the spiritual in a more active way, in a far more animated way. So I do hope I could explain my aim with this project, especially with this music genre I've created, Raw Animism. I do hope you enjoy my works, and let me know what you think of this latest EP and how you are using it, and the things you experience and what awakens in your mind and spirit. I'm very much interested in that, as well as this project also ends up to be a sort of anthropological and psychological study. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for your time, and many thanks to all of those who have been supporting me and this project of mine. Many blessings to you. Thank you. Until we meet again, my dear friends.